All right, welcome back, 2022. We are here, YKTR Trending on the Ice Project. We have Isaac John, I am Luke, and we are proudly sponsored by Kelly Partners.
Yeah, Kelly Partners, best accounting firm in Australia, in Sydney, Northern Beaches. I've been down here for over 3-4 years now. Use them as a mentor, use them as a sort of big brother in this business space, very diverse in multiple areas, but you got to look after your accounts as well. And if you're starting a business, it's fucking stressful as it is. So make sure your account's in order. Kelly Partners, Northern Beaches, hit them up. Contacts down below.
You made a phone call before we started this new studio as well. I was like, can we afford to do this?
Yeah, I go to him to ask that, but then I just go and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because he's accounting, so he goes, you don't want to be making money to spend on rent.
100.
And I was like, bro, you're getting in the way of my dreams, bro.
But we are back. We're refreshed. It is 2022 and everything, the internet never stops. First topic we want to dive into, surprise, surprise, Prime by Logan Paul and KSI. Bit of background, obviously most people know who they are, but they have, KSI is a YouTuber from the UK. Logan Paul is sort of a lifestyle creator from LA. They've sort of had a little bit of beef over the years. They've actually had 2 boxing fights. First one was an amateur fight over in the UK. The second one was a professional fight. Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing actually promoted that one, so they realised sort of the magnitude of the event when they initially put that together. But they've put their beef aside and they have come together to create Prime energy drink. It's not quite an energy drink, sort of like a refreshment drink. Ice, what do you think?
Yeah, I love it. Love the packaging of it. It really stands out. I love the sort of product to market fit as well. And we sort of talk, we love the Nelk Boys as well, but this product suits their demographic or their personalities more so than like an alcohol would, where Nelk Boys are like, let's send it, or full send is their sort of motto. So they launched a seltzer called Happy Dad. I think this just suits them a lot more better.
Yeah, it's when I was like thinking about it, there's not really a type of drink that sort of hits that I want to go to a drink. Like I always use the example of like when you're hungover on a Sunday and you go to the servo, get yourself a blue Powerade, because that's it's sort of a bit of a meme these days.
You can still taste that vodka in it.
Yeah,
still?
yeah, it's grouse. So sometimes a little mix of vodka just to keep you going the next day. That Simi told me that one. But in terms of having like a refreshing, it's low calorie drink, 10% coconut water. The flavors are like your oranges, your limes.
It's all backwards for the Broncos, and it's going to be a try. Xavier Wilson.
Scope, you're connected to the roadcaster. Xavier Coates.
Yeah, keep that in there.
Yeah.
Yes, turn your Bluetooth off.
Sorry, a few technical difficulties here in the office. It is the first podcast of Trending 2022.
Go.
So talking about in terms of the flavors, I haven't actually found like a beverage that sort of hits that market, and like it's sort of like the 50-cent vitamin water to a degree, but that was never really good for you per se. That was sort of a bit of a gimmick, and we didn't really have the internet like we do today to sort of realize that until he was able to sell it later on. But in terms of the drink, perfect for the audience. And I think the advantage that they have is mainly through KSI, the gaming side of it. One of the marketing posts that I saw was like the headset with the drink next to it. And the big players like the Gatorades of the world, they just can't get into that sort of market.
Yeah, and it's like Gatorade's been around for a long time. So even though their products stay the same, they're going to always have to constantly try and reinvent themselves. And they've obviously done ads back in the day with like Jordan and all the big basketball stars. But I remember watching this thing about New Balance, the shoes. And so back in New York in the 80s, the big guys were the drug dealers on the corner, and they used to wear like Timberlands and Air Forces. And because they were standing on the streets for so long, like they wanted something a bit more comfortable. And at the time, New Balance was the most expensive shoe. So when people saw them, they knew that they could afford that shoe, but they were out on the block all day working, and people used to gravitate towards drug dealers and try and be like them. Michael Jordan comes along, the sports athletes, and then rappers come along. So you think of Gatorade, they've transitioned from like sports stars, and then someone like 50 Cent started up vitamin water, and he killed it off the back of that. And then Kobe Bryant started Body Armor as well. So Gatorade's, I think they own 64% of the market, or the market share right now, which is like huge. And Logan Paul and them have come out, they're like, why can't we be the next Gatorade? And I think they can.
Yeah, I think like if you listen to the podcast, they continually bring up Gatorade. It's like they're chirping at them. They just want to get into that battle with them.
It's a David versus Goliath, poking the bear.
100%. And then obviously they're getting on Gatorade's radar by doing so. They're in all the big, like the Walmarts, the Targets, the Ralphs, all the big stores over there in the US. But like I think they've realized by the adversary that they went through in terms of like hating each other, talking shit, whether they did like each other or not, in terms of what they presented was they just didn't get along, and they got these boxing fights promoted. You do that with a big company like Gatorade, they become like the David and Goliath, as you said. But then one day when Gatorade's like, well, you've got all this market share that we want, you can get into the UK. I was reading the only way that you can get Gatorade in the UK is through Amazon, which is a bit of a punish for the average person. And even though Amazon's everywhere, the average person's not really doing their groceries on Amazon yet. So I think if KSI can nail that market, obviously he's got his massive audience over there. And then things like KSI is like a pretty good rapper. Like he's got Lil Durk and like Future and stuff on his songs, like one of them in the music video. Like those sort of things are like priceless in terms of what they can do with their marketing engines. And even like we'll loosely talk about it, like Logan Paul lost 3.5 of the best on the Pokemon cards. He starts that video off by going, oh, make sure you go buy Prime because I'm going to need it.
Yeah, that's smart. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They know how to make content. They know how to plug products into there as well. But one thing someone told me a while ago within business, and a lot of people start businesses to sell, they're not trying to do this for a long term. They've got an exit strategy. It might be 500 mil, might be $1 billion. But they'll clear 250 each, which would be pretty good. Obviously, they'll have suppliers and stuff. But one thing someone told me a while ago was if you become a nuisance to the bigger dogs, they'll just try and buy you out.
Yeah.
So maybe them poking the bear with the Gatorade strategy behind, like, oh, maybe Gatorade will come in and buy them out.
Yeah, and then it's not like Gatorade. It's Gatorade
owned by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, so you don't just get, if they buy out Logan and KSI, they don't just get the Prime drink. They get to use, like they can start selling Coke with Logan Paul, like if that fits in the right demographic.
They won't do it like that. It'll just purely be like if Coke comes in and buys, they'll be like, yeah, cool, we'll buy you for $500 million, say for that, but you have to promote the Prime for the next 2-3 years, and then we'll drip feed you the money out. So the deal will work something along those lines. Yeah. You won't have like Logan Paul promoting Coke, I reckon.
How long do you reckon before it comes down under?
They'd probably have to look at all their demographics and marketing and stuff like that. I can't see it being too far away.
Yeah.
Especially if there's
it's not like it's an alcohol where there's like all the tax laws. Like you bring in just like a healthy drink. So.
But then it's a supply chain thing as well. So they might, obviously people like Coca-Cola have the supply chain down there. If they had the recipe, they could be printing them out and send them out. But in terms of pricing, like I looked at it, it's like $1.99. It's dirt cheap. It must cost fuck all to make and package. But something like that, it's just all about scale. So how many distribution centers can you get in? How many SKUs can you move per week? And say if they're moving 1 million SKUs per week at $1.99, that's like $2 million. The Coca-Colas, the Pepsis come in and like, these guys are a little bit annoying. Come and let me buy you. So smart move from them.
I think I saw 3 mil was the number that they initially sold out of straight away. Maybe that was their website stock and then the Walmart stuff was separate. But that's pretty crazy.
It'll be 2 separate channels. So obviously you go down the wholesale channel and then you go down something where you can get the full vertical margin on as well. So it'd be interesting to see what the split is. But something like that, it'd be more so a wholesale route, so they'd want to be in Coles and stuff like that. Because if you get that contract, you're in 500 stores in Australia.
Yeah, crazy.
So you go scale with those types of products. You go scale.
Yeah,
be a nuisance and then sell.
Try and get a little sneaky somehow. Get it sent to the office. Good vlog content. Trying Prime.
You can't that stuff. Just got to taste nice and
you can't go wrong. But hey, it's better than all the fucking alcohol I've been drinking lately anyway. So moving on to the other Paul brother. Nice little kitty on the little YouTube earners list. You wouldn't really even call him a YouTuber. He only sort of promotes his fights. He's not uploading vlogs like the old days, but 45 mil of the best
in a year.
A year. And I think he only had 3 fights last year because the first one was he's had like 4 fights in the space of 12 months, but not within a calendar year, if you get what I'm talking about. Yep. So he's
and I think 41 million of that's come from boxing. So you can see why those boys are starting to gravitate towards that. You do your little 8-week camp. They've come from daily vlogging.
Yeah.
I actually watched. Have you seen David Dobrik when he talks to Casey Neistat?
Yes.
Oh, that's
back in the day.
Yeah, they're talking about like.
So that's how I discovered vlogs. David Dobrik, that video, because I was a massive Casey guy, and you had this David guy
on the podcast.
Oh, not on the podcast, no.
Yeah, so he's talking about Casey's like your life gets consumed with like just uploading content. And you feel like you need it, and once you step away, you're a lot happier, and you're like you feel like you're human again. So these guys making fucking bank, 41 mil. Like Canelo made about similar money, and he's pretty much the big dog in that space.
It's crazy.
Besides maybe Tyson Fury, would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, in terms of the big dogs, 100%. Yeah, it's just how he sort of just like figured out, and even the way that he plays adversary with Dana White is
Smart.
like, it's so smart. It's just keeps him in all the MMA pages. Like everyone, you go through the comments, everyone's like, stop posting this cunt. But it's like,
it's the same thing as the Gatorade.
Yeah.
Like, they're poking the big bear. The big bear in the fighting game is Dana White.
And the big bear's biting back, which is
Yeah.
rare. Sometimes you'll give it to like Bob Arum or who's Floyd Mayweather fought him, Mexican guy.
De La Hoya.
De La Hoya, yeah. So he'll always give it to De La Hoya about being a coke addict and all that sort of shit. But it's crazy he's giving, like what people don't see is like he's giving the recipe for fighters to do it. And I think one of the smartest things that fucking Kambosos did straight after his win was like, he's on like a FaceTime with him. He's tweeting at him, just like get in the bubble of it, because it's like, it's where the attention lies. Regardless if people like him, hate him, if you can somehow be associated with him, you're going to get promotion. And what promotion is money in your pocket at the end of the day.
Sugar Shane's doing that really well. I think Kambosos has figured it out really, really quickly that you need to be around those guys and you get attention. And then obviously like he's a world champ right now. So he's got a belt right now. So it's just smart. And then like traditionally, like a lot of boxers hate these types of people because they're getting the big banks, but technically like as a purist, they're not as great or technically sound as these guys, but you just got to figure it out. And Jake Paul and they talk about it. They say, we've spent 2 years trying to figure out boxing or your art and craft. Why don't you spend 2 years trying to figure out content?
Yeah.
And obviously they're not getting the money that these guys are getting as well, but he makes a really valid point. So
100%.
45 mil, I looked at the stat list. So Logan Paul made 18 million off the back of his fights. Obviously he hasn't been... so Logan Paul's on 18 million and the big dog, Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast.
54 million.
But he would have spent 54.
Yeah,
Right?
so
he's crazy.
did you watch his Squid Games?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I appreciate his content, but I don't necessarily love watching it.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. It's not sometimes, because you sort of know what's going to happen. Like he was like, I got chased down, escaping an FBI agent. Like he's going to get caught. But I think what we appreciate is like the ability for him to storytell how he does. So when he's like cutting in between scenes and then it goes up to the drone shot with the little head that's moving across the map, I think like that's what we appreciate about that style of content, not necessarily like Mr. Beast being someone that we would necessarily like relate to.
There's ultimate respect there though, because he's the king of YouTube.
Yeah, in terms of like what he's done in his brain. I was watching his video when I woke up this morning on him, how he's more of like a tech founder than anyone else on YouTube. Like he understands that it's okay to let go, and because he said it on one of the podcasts, he's like, a lot of creators don't want to let go of their vlogging because someone can't replicate it. He goes, someone can replicate your vlog. Like you can find someone, you can pay someone to do it, it'll work. So if you can start freeing yourself up like that, his content, I don't know, he'll come out with like a crazy one where it's like, whoa, how the fuck can you do that? That's kind of interesting. Like he like buries himself underground for like 2 days. Like there's a lot of planning. You don't just bury yourself underground without all the testing and all that sort of stuff that goes with it. So he's just like, what can I do that's like the craziest idea, give away the most amount of money, and then like people be like, fuck, I want to see how you do that. That's sort of like the narrative for why I sort of tune into it.
Yeah, and I do respect it, but yeah, not particularly.
Did you watch the hide and seek at the stadium?
Yeah.
But like that's such a simple concept that it's like you just get all the big creators into, you know what I mean? So I just like
it's smart. Yeah,
the brains behind it is what I enjoy.
And then they think about captions and thumbnails and stuff like that. So obviously, like when you're getting 54 million views, you know what you're doing, and you're making $54 million.
100%.
Yeah, so they reckon he'll be the first to make a bill out of all the YouTubers,
That's
unless like one of these brand deals come off super quick before him. So they're all going to make a fuckload of money. Let's just put it that way.
You could see that like someone like an Elon partners with him to take him up to the moon or something. I can see that being the trajectory of where he goes. Yeah, some sort of like
he'd go to.
Yeah, I know. He'd be like, $1 million on the moon, first person, blah blah blah. But yeah, that'd be sick. All right, moving on to the next topic that we had, one that you know much more about than I do. I've seen it on Instagram, and you probably have too, as a fan of the NRL. A lot of the boys, Cheese, I think Pappy's posted it. Simmy's whitelisted for this one. Trillionaire Thugs. Sam is his name?
Yeah, Sam.
And do you want to explain who Sam is, how you know him, and then what Trillionaire Thugs is as an NFT project?
So Sam, I'm meant to be podcasting him soon. We've always said that we'll do it in person. But I think it's getting to the point now we might just chop it up online. I don't really want to. I do want to interview him. But so he's a dude from Logan, went to Wesley College over in Auckland. Used to vlog back in the day, used to be a club promoter. He launched a Facebook page that took off and it was getting like millions and millions of views. Don't quote me, but I think he had the biggest Facebook page in the world, bigger than Cristiano Ronaldo at the time.
Back in the day.
And he was just doing memes. And then he used to monetize off the back of blogs, which was a very, very big thing, 13, 15. Like you'd be like, oh, go read this blog and go check out number 4. That's my favorite. So people, like say millions of people would go on, ad will pop up, and that's how he used to make money. Looked into the data, seen apps was a new thing, created a bunch of different apps, made a bulk of cash, moved into crypto. And the reason why I like Sam is because he gives out so much fucking value for free. And over the past year, I've just been doing that.
What's he know? Fortify? That's what he's known.
Fortify. This is like
digital name for whatever.
Yeah, he's always been called Fortify. Like he used to do workout videos and stuff like that. But he's launched an NFT project called Trillionaire Thugs. In it, not as in it as a lot of people within the Discord.
Yeah.
113,000 Discord members as of last night. Just out of context, VFriends was one of the biggest projects, is about 235.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even launched.
I think he was the quickest to 100K, like when I was seeing on all those NFT pages.
And a lot of those were bots, and they got rid of all the bots, so they went back down to 70, and he's built it back up.
Yeah.
And when you're in those group chats, they're like, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
But there's all these different sections and stuff like that, which is really cool. So, but they're launching one called Trillionaire Thugs. Pretty of a standard roadmap, as all are, like the merch, the events, the access. But I think with this NFT, it's just the access to those types of guys.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Batman Kev that he knocks about with in Miami. I think he got big off the back of OnlyFans, and I think he does OnlyFans for business stuff as well. I haven't dived.
So that's his like consulting.
He's on No Jumper.
Right, okay.
So listen to that. Bit of a different, like just on his own bars, like wears big chains and shit like that. So, but that's launching, and there's massive hype around it, especially here in Australia. Yeah. And I'm jumping in the Discords and just watching, not really participating, but dudes are just from mostly from around here, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like he's obviously an Australian from up in Brisbane. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think he went to school in Auckland, but then he's from Logan.
Right,
lived in Logan for a bit.
I watched. The only thing I could find in him when I was trying to watch was he did. Kempy and him did a live stream together, and Kempy used to know him from back in the club scene, being around Brisbane and whatnot. So found that interesting. I think the graphic of it looks cool. It's cool to finally see like the artwork becoming more prevalent in the NFTs. Before it was just some pixelated thing that everyone's trying to copy a CryptoPunk and whatnot. Shout out to my weird whale. But then moving into like actual,
I think the guys who done the artwork are from who helped design Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, right.
That's why it looks elite.
Yeah,
but then like people who don't understand NFT, it's basically just access. So they're going to start throwing parties in Miami and Dubai, and if you got one of those, you'll be allowed into that. But the thing I like about it, because he's giving me so much value, I'm just going to back him anyway, because like I'd rather support someone that's giving me so much value for free. So if you're going to spend money on these types of guys, I think it opens up a different type of network with you as well.
What did you say? It was 7,777?
7,777.
What's the why behind that? Is that just a favourite number? He likes his 7? Or?
I don't know, yeah.
A lot of people's 7's their favourite number. It's my favourite number.
A lot of people would have done the 10,000, which would have been like the standard, but I think it's changing. Yeah. I think Mechaverse was very similar as well. Yeah. I think that flopped, but I think it's going to move into a play to earn, which is the big thing, which is the big term in crypto.
So what do you think, like all these characters that are your NFT, do you think, obviously like 98% of them are going to fall to the fucking shit up, but like, are you going to be able to like build your character and that's what you look like in the metaverse in 10 years time? Or what do you think the artwork that we're all buying today, where do you think that's going to represent in 10 years time?
I don't know. I think in terms,
that's what I'm struggling with. I keep seeing all this stuff and I'm like, what is this in 10 years? Like, where's the value in this in 10 years?
I think in terms of avatar, you'd want to dress up how you'd want to dress up. You might want to look exactly like you might not. It might be like Ready Player One. But then in saying that, like it might be say Trillionaire Thugs 10 years from now is this massive community and everyone's built money off. We go into the metaverse and we can all hang out together in a certain area. But you have to show your NFT before you can get in. You're not necessarily going to be walking around like that person. But that play to earn's the really exciting part. I heard Face Banks talk about like there's people just going to be making money. Like you don't have to do brand deals anymore. You don't have to go, all right, I'm drinking Prime, I'm wearing YKTR. You don't have to really do that anymore, even though that's an easy way to make money. You can make money pure off the back of just pumping cunts on Fortnite soon. So that's going to be the big thing coming up with that play to earn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's already people making bank.
Yeah.
And there's 2.8 billion people online playing online games.
I think, like, obviously the OpenSea, you look at how much, I think in the first 2 weeks of January, OpenSea has had the most volume ever compared to on months previously. I think there's something like it's the end of the American tax year, so now it's like everyone's diving in early.
They're on different tax times.
I don't think, you know how we're mid-year, I think they're start of year off the top of my, I could be wrong.
I find mid-year weird anyway, eh?
Yeah, I know. Just get it all done at the end of the year. Like it'll just make life easy. I don't know what the go is behind that either. But in terms of like seeing all the volumes going through OpenSea, it is pretty crazy at the moment. I've been sort of trying to like look at stuff, try and buy. Like
I'm kind of checked out of NFTs at the moment. I'm paying attention to Trillionaire Thugs, and we've got a group chat that a few of the boys are right into it. But like it reminds me of sports cards when I was just buying anything, bro. Yeah. So I'm just focusing on sticking to basics, buying cryptos.
But even I kind of get that a little bit more because like you know what you're buying. You're not going out and buying like a random card generated by some other punter. Like you're buying tops, you're buying like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas these, it's like everyone seems to be trying to do a profile picture project, and I do think it shifts to like the artist a bit more, and that's what I've sort of been looking for. Like one that's sort of done pretty well is I think In-Betweeners. It's the guy that does all the stuff for Drew House for Bieber and stuff. I think the floor on that's like nearly 1.5, 2 ETH already on that project. Misminting that, I was spewing. But in terms of like, he's the artist and you're buying into someone that's already done like good artwork, and that's why you start, I think, it's been taking like 8 months for all like the high-end graphic designers, motion graphic editors and stuff to sort of come into the space, and the artwork starting to sort of look better. And I know it's not always about the artwork. Like there was another one, Rug, this guy Farouk, he just dropped this like Rug token, it's called. It sounds stupid that he's called it Rug, but there's a meaning behind it. It's like this new media platform that he's building behind there, and there's no artwork. It's just like the same coin for everything, and that's your access to the community. You're purely just buying a ticket basically to it.
Yeah, see, I'm not as sold on artwork as you are, and I know you're a creative. I'm more sold on what you get from it. That's more important to me, or who's in it.
Yes.
So if I knew Gary Vee and Kyle from Nauk are going to buy that Alien, I'm like, fuck, I'd try and get that because I kind of want to be a net with those guys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So for me, Trillionaire Thugs is access to Sam. And even though I've got access to him, like individually.
Well, that's what on the Nelk podcast, the John Shahidi or whatever his name is saying. He's like, I bought a V friend purely because yes, I can like text you and call you, but I'm like, if I've got your token, then it's like another level of like, not obligation for Gary to talk to him or anything, but it's just like acknowledging what they've done for them before, pretty much.
And in my mind, if we had our time over for Doozy Club, I'd launch it as more of an NFT than a subscription-based model.
100%.
Yeah, so which we still could.
And that wraps up this episode of Trending.
Barstool.
Oh, we've got the Barstool. Yeah, Barstool have opened a pub in Chicago. So they don't really call it pubs over there. They call it bars. But that looked pretty cool. They had all the influencers there. I think that's where Logan Paul was there purely because that's where he had to get his Pokemon card graded. Then he's hanging around with Eddie and all those guys.
They'd have obligations because he's part of Barstool as well.
Oh, true. He's like the sportsbook rep. So they have their own bar. It's got their own sportsbook stuff all through it. Fuck, they just love doing good moves, eh?
Yeah, I think it's really smart. So, like, it reminds me of Mr. Beast when he launched that sort of burger thing. Yeah. So, when you got doing those types of things, you're trying to scale out pretty quickly. And it gives somewhere, like, Barstool's always been an internet place, or even though you could get physical products, most of their money is made for advertising and stuff like that. Now there's a physical place where you could actually go. And I could see a guy like, obviously, Denon Kemp, who's had a bar before, pulled away, launching alcohol, probably got a fuckload more cash now. Yeah. He could easily go do something like that. And
I can imagine, like, the best fucking NRL sports bar in fucking Australia.
Yeah, and there's like, you're a Liverpool fan, there's people where people go watch Liverpool games.
Cheers Bar in Sydney is one of the best places to watch sport, live sport.
So eventually it's going to be a place where probably Bloke in the Bar is going to be the first guy to do it. Yeah. They launch something like that.
Yeah. Do you think that takes it away from the crowd going to the game? Like,
well, that's on the NRL. Fucking lower the ticket prices.
Yeah.
Stop giving fucking half a percent fucking beers out.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit rowdy at the footy, but yeah.
Sydney's not set up to go watch footy.
It'll be interesting to see once there's a new stadium down the road built. There are that strip around there that's got like a few good pubs and stuff like that. And that little precinct, like when we went there for the Darcy Lussick and Gal warm up
That's
thing.
nice around there, right?
There's all like restaurants and cafes there, and there's bowling. So there's a lot in that little precinct that they can do. And I don't know, I was still away. I couldn't go to any of the Sydney Test matches, so it would have been cool to go hang out around that little precinct just to get a bit of a taste. I feel like it's been forever since I've been in the SCG.
That will be cool when that comes back, because you can go east, you can go Double Bay, you can go City.
Yeah.
You can get out there pretty quickly as well. So that will be cool.
Last question, off topic, just came to me then after saying SCG. After a 5 Ashes series, has cricket crept up on your radar any little bit more?
No.
No? The fans on the Instagram were going off on it.
Only time I listened to it is when I was listening to Hello Sports, and they were talking, but I was just listening to them. But like, I've tried to get into cricket.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
Yeah. No,
It's
fair
just
enough.
slow.
It is. No 2020 overnight? You flicked
I
that
heard
on?
it's good if you go live.
Yeah.
I got into AFL from watching it live. but-
AFL's mad to watch live. I love because you can see what you don't see on TV in the AFL is you see all the off the ball stuff
Yeah, agree.
that makes it interesting. But when you're at the NRL, it's such like a specific part of the game that you're watching the whole time that it's like easier to go and watch live.
It's
Or it's easy to watch at
on
home.
TV.
Sorry,
And
There you
there's like
go.
lots of contact. It's made for TV. So yeah, but cricket not on the agenda.
We're only a month away from the All Stars game, so
That's
before
at
we know
Para
it-
too, eh?
Yeah, Bankwest or Combank they're calling it now. So
Shit, let's go get some content.
let's go. All right, until next episode of Trending, we'll see you next time.